What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls and Phoenix Suns game reaction to discuss, where all things considered, pretty much the exact same outcome that we saw at home against the Phoenix Suns pretty much occurred in this game against the Phoenix Suns. I guess the only difference is that the Bulls' second unit, bench warmers, didn't exactly have that miraculous surge in them to bring this game closer, and it felt like a very similar performance. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today, your player of the game, your overall thoughts and opinions on the Chicago Bulls style of play. We lost the game 129 to 102. It almost feels like with the Chicago Bulls that we're going through the motions in many ways. We're just doing things a little bit lackadaisically. We're there to show up, to try and make a good impact in one or two quarters, but eventually we all know we're not going to win this game. I felt like that was the Bulls' attitude walking into this game, because it really felt like in the first quarter we gave a lot of energy, we gave a lot of effort for the Chicago Bulls, but then after that we felt like, wow, look how much effort we put in the first quarter, and we still ended up losing that quarter to the Phoenix Suns. We put so much into it, we brought so much great energy defensively, we worked very hard offensively, we had a great first quarter, but Phoenix still ended up winning that quarter. So in the end, it's almost like we gave up after that first quarter. We saw very, very poor turnovers from the Chicago Bulls. Again, there wasn't many turnovers, but the turnovers that we committed were, in my opinion, very bad as a Chicago Bulls team. Some of those passes, you need that extra oomph in a pass, you know? You want that pass to be like a rocket in many ways. Instead, we're throwing the ball very lazy, type things like that, and it showed all the way through the game. But with the Chicago Bulls, it's always been the same issues, and I'm kind of really tired of repeating these. I don't really want to keep on talking about the same issues. So for this video specifically, maybe this is going to be a one-off, I don't know. I don't want to talk about the Chicago Bulls problems anymore. I really don't, because I feel like those problems are probably going to be here for the rest of the season. I think right now, a lot of people have to come to terms that this is the Chicago Bulls, and this is what we're going to be for the foreseeable future. We have a lot to look forward to in terms of Patrick Williams and in terms of Lonzo Ball returning to the Chicago Bulls. But Lonzo Ball, we don't even have a time frame of at the moment, and Patrick Williams will be returning next week. But outside of that, this is the Chicago Bulls. This is what we are at the moment, and I'm kind of sick and tired of talking about these problems, talking about the same issues, talking about why the Chicago Bulls are doing certain things wrong and how we can rectify them, because it looks like all of the talk that we've been discussing over the past few games, where we have been losing a lot of these games, I think this is 8 of our last 9 games or whatever it is, it all go on deaf ears. It feels like all the solutions, Billy Donovan's trying to find answers. I don't think we found any answers. I don't think we've done any changes. I don't think we've really done much as a team to really rectify any mistakes or any issues that we have. It does feel like we're just slowly giving up as a team in terms of beating good teams, and it also feels like we just simply do not have enough as a team. The system isn't right. The players, some of these players are just not right for these Chicago Bulls teams. Again, we're sitting 5th in the Eastern Conference and stuff of that nature, and 5th is a very good position to be in considering where we were last year. We finished 11th last year, and we're sitting 5th this year. So if you're looking at it from last year to this year, that's a great improvement to see. But all things considered, this Chicago Bulls team has seriously dropped off dramatically. It almost looks like we are a team that's fighting for an 11th seed at the moment. That's really feels like how we're playing, and we need to see a lot of changes. But I'm done talking about the problems. I'm done talking about specific problems, at least for this game specifically, because we all know those problems. We all know they're there. We all know that there's changes that needs to be made. And until those changes happen, why do I have to keep talking about it? Because at the end of the day, I'm just repeating myself every video, and I don't like doing that. It's one of the worst things that I do sometimes. I admit that I repeat myself so many times throughout the course of these videos, whether it's positives and negatives. I hate doing that. I try very hard not to. So in this game specifically, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to talk about some of the positives. I thought our bench production was fantastic in this game. I think we had 44, 45 points off of the bench today. That's a really outstanding number. I think technically our bench outplayed the Phoenix Suns bench, but at the end of the day, the biggest problems came with the starters today, the efficiency of our starters. I thought our rebounding was very poor, but again, I'm going back into the problems. Our bench production was really good today. I thought Kobe White had a great game. I thought Alex Caruso had a great game. And I even thought Tristan Thompson had a very good game as well. But yeah, our bench production was much, much better. And that's the improvement we need to see over the next few games. Our bench can keep us in a lot of games. We versed the best team in the Phoenix Suns in the NBA. And at the end of the day, we probably, even when we played at our best, it was probably going to be a very hard team to overcome. But our bench should be having games like this every now and then, but we should just be improving our bench in total. If we have better bench production, again, when we've got games like the Raptors coming up, games like the Bucks, games like New Orleans, you might have better chances to win these games when you see the Chicago Bulls bench producing the way that it is in this game against Phoenix. There's something else I wanted to mention. Again, when you look at the Phoenix Suns today, they had a lot of key players that they were missing in today's game. I guess the main two you could think of, Chris Paul and Jay Crowder, are really big ones. Chris Paul is an all-star at the end of the day, really huge loss for them. And then obviously Jay Crowder, in my opinion, Jay Crowder is often the glue guy for every team that he plays against. He's the guy that kind of takes them to that extra level. He's the glue guy. He's a very good two-way player. He makes threes, great defense, gets into players, has that attitude and that hustle that you like. I praise Jay Crowder a lot because I think he's a great player. And same with Chris Paul. Point guard for many ways, definitely one of my favorite point guards of all time. Fantastic player, but they're missing those two guys today. And I guess the question I have to ask is, why is Phoenix so successful without those guys? And there's a key answer here that the Bulls simply don't have the answer to for their own team, even when we're at times fairly healthy. We are healthier than the Phoenix Suns today. I don't want to hear excuses of injuries in today's game. I don't want to hear the excuse of Lonzo Ball or Patrick Williams not playing. We are much healthier than Phoenix today. How are Phoenix that much more successful? And the answer is obviously they are, for the most part, a lot of their team that they have played very long time together. So they have chemistry outside of Chris Paul that they're playing with. But it's the system that they play. They have the plays to execute their system 10 times over. They have 3-and-D guys, but mainly 3-point shooters. That's how they get the most of their success. When Devin Booker is not taking those really incredible mid-range shots that he made so many of them today, he has guys around him that are willing to knock down threes. Their ball movement is unbelievable. Their player movement is unbelievable as well. And defensively, they're very active. They're very tough on the defensive end. They like to get a couple of steals going. They like to make sure you're taking the most difficult shots possible. They don't foul as much as other teams. Very, very positive Phoenix Suns team. And in my opinion, they are the best team in the NBA, and they're probably going to be the team to beat in the playoffs. So congratulations to Phoenix on having that successful season. But that's their system. Our system is not the Phoenix Suns system. I think we have a lot of similarities when we were at our best. I think we are a very active defensive team at our best. We like to get a couple of steals going. We like to make sure that, again, physically we impose ourselves on other teams. We want to switch a lot of 1 through 4 for the most part. We want to do all these things. But offensively, from the very beginning of the season, Billy Donovan said we want to be a team that pushes the tempo. We want to run the floor. We want to run in transition. We want to get easy open baskets. We signed all these athletes. Derrick Jones Jr., athlete. Zach LaVine, athlete. Lonzo, athlete. Caruso, athlete. All these guys that are willing and able to run the floor to make sure our transition game is as great as it can be. We don't see that as a Chicago Bulls team. That's the system that we wanted to run at the very beginning of the season. Why aren't we seeing that transition play today? And I guess that question is, yes, I think Lonzo Ball's a big part of us not being able to run that transition game. But you're telling me that we have very few and far between transition opportunities. Lonzo Ball is a great transition passer. But that doesn't mean that that transition game has to die when Lonzo Ball is not in the team. It makes no sense. If that's the system we want to run and we have the players to do that, then you have to do it more than what we're seeing. And Phoenix Phoenix have a structure, they have a style of play, they have an ability to make sure that they have the depth available as well to make sure that when guys are missing, they're not missing that much. So Phoenix have everything covered. They have the depth covered, they have the structure covered, they have the style of play covered, and everybody knows their role on the team. That makes the step up for Phoenix not as bad when Chris Paul is out. You have Cameron Payne come into the team. Cameron Payne, a guy that was pretty much a bench warmer for the Chicago Bulls, but he knows the system in Phoenix. He's improved his game from Phoenix, and at the end of the day, he knows how to play with his Phoenix Suns teammates, and that's why he has great games for the Phoenix Suns, and he's running the point guard position, and they're still winning games. They make sure all of these things they have covered. For the Chicago Bulls, our transition game stopped with Lonzo Ball. We don't see anybody play transition. Even Ayo, a great point guard that he is, he doesn't play transition. Only Lonzo Ball's the one, and Alex Caruso, we saw a couple of games ago, play transition, but no one else does for this Chicago Bulls team. So again, I guess you could see that as a problem that I didn't want to go into, but this is mainly just praising how the Phoenix Suns play and how their depth makes it work for them and how they continue to win games when players are out. And that's something we need to learn from. We need to learn from the Phoenix Suns. We need to learn from the Golden State Warriors that we versed recently, not too long ago as well. We need to start learning from these top teams. It might take a while. It might mean this season's not going to end up well for the Chicago Bulls, but these are the things that we need to start learning as a team. We need to start learning how to implement each other's roles to perfection. How when one guy is out, someone else comes in and we're not losing that much. How our style of play remains the same no matter who's on the court or who's not playing. We don't see that a lot from the Chicago Bulls. And the style of play that we do run and the style of play that we do use no matter who's on the court is not good enough. It's isolation and hero ball. That's not going to be good enough to win any game against any good opposition in the NBA. So again, all these things we do need to work on. 3 times in a row, my must improve is the whole team. I feel like defensively, we have so much work to do, but even offensively, again, it's the biggest weakness of the Chicago Bulls. The past game from Cleveland all the way to Phoenix, our offense has been the key factor in us struggling. Defense, again, we got 129 points to Phoenix. We all know our defensive liabilities. We all know our defense will be the reason why we probably won't win championships, or we won't really get close to it this season if we keep up this level of defense. But offensively, it just makes it look 10 times worse for the Chicago Bulls. And I do feel like our attitude needs to be put in question, and how we do often give up a lot after we have good starts to quarters. We have a good start to this game finally, and we give up after it, in my opinion. That's how I felt. And it showed in our second quarter, 21 points to 31 by the Phoenix Suns compared to the Chicago Bulls. And they outscored us the entire outscored us the entire way through as well. So again, it's Phoenix style of play implemented on us. We struggled with it, but at the end of the day, I do feel like at times it felt like we gave up with this team. The player of the game, it's hard to pick, really, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, so many people had so many lackluster games. I don't really know what to say. I don't really know who to give it to. Again, I think Vucevic got outplayed by DeAndre Ayton, but he had a strong game in terms of his own game. So I might pick Nikola Vucevic. I think DeMar DeRozan with his 19 points, a lot of it came in the fourth quarter when the game was already out of question. Zach LaVine was really poor from the efficiency. He had a 12-9 game, but efficiency-wise was really, really poor. I think he had like 14% at one point. So that's really poor for Zach. Ayo didn't get much into this game whatsoever. Kobe White was great in my opinion, but again, defensively there was some struggles. Derrick Jones Jr., too inconsistent. Tristan Thompson was fantastic today. I'd put him in contention for player of the game in all honesty as well. But I guess I'm going to give it to Vucevic for his ability to score in the paint. I think he put a lot of pressure on the paint today, and I think he held his own. But at the end of the day, I think everybody got outplayed. I think every single one of these players got outplayed by Phoenix Suns players. That's just the way that it is. The Bulls' record at this point in time is 41-29. Cleveland are one game behind us now, so that is definitely a worry. And when we verse Cleveland, let's hope that we can beat them again so we can get that tiebreaker against them. We don't want to have a tiebreaker against us against Cleveland, because if they overtake us, they're going to stay, in my opinion, above us. So that's very, very frustrating. Boston beat the Sacramento Kings today, so they're going to go a game extra above us as well. So it looks like 5th is kind of the comfortable spot for the Chicago Bulls at the moment. I don't see us going any higher at the moment with how we've lost. This West Coast trip has been an absolute disaster, and I don't see us really going below, because I think the teams below us, I still think we're better than those teams. And I guess that's bias coming in if you agree or disagree. But I think the teams like the Raptors that are trying to fight against us, I think we're better than the Toronto Raptors at this point in time. I could be wrong. I think we're better than Cleveland, and I think Cleveland at the moment, they're struggling with players, and that's the only reason why I say that we're better than Cleveland at the moment, because I think a fully healthy Cleveland Cavaliers team, with the way that we're playing, is better than the Chicago Bulls. So all things considered, we have so much work to do, and we don't have a lot of time to do it in. So let's just hope that the next game against the Toronto Raptors will be a better one. Let's hope that Patrick Williams can return in this game. Just get an extra spark plug in the team. Just get an extra boost of energy. And let's hope we can win that game on behalf of Patrick Williams if he does return. And at the end of the day, this is a must-win game, but all of these games are must-win, ladies and gentlemen. And we've lost 3 West Coast games. In my opinion, it's been an absolute disaster class heading into this West Coast trip. It's one of the worst trips in terms of away on the road that I've seen all season. And we've pretty much got bullied by every single one of these teams. We got bullied by Sacramento, we got bullied by Utah, and we got destroyed by Phoenix. So it's a really upsetting time to be a Bulls fan at the moment. There needs to be questions asked from the coaching staff to the players of this team. I think everybody needs to be held responsible, and I think everybody needs to have personal pride kick in to try and win some of these games. The desperation, again, is not there. I remember saying that back in the Philadelphia game. We needed desperation to beat Philly, and we didn't do it. No desperation whatsoever from the Chicago Bulls. No sense of urgency. And I feel like the pride of this team is being really hurt from some of the opposition, and we need to have that pride kick in as well. We need to start defending ourselves. We're getting bullied by every team. We need to start standing up for ourselves as a team. So hopefully the game against the Raptors, it's a team where the Raptors are playing, they're playing decently. They lost to the Lakers today, so at the end of the day, that is something, that was an overtime game, so they lost the game, and we are worried about Toronto coming up on us as well. Toronto have a record of 39-31, so they're not too far away either from the Chicago Bulls, so that's a must-win game to make sure we can stay above them, and obviously having an extra win on them would be very crucial as well. We versed them 4 times, we beat them twice, they beat us once. If we verse them again and we beat them again, we have that tiebreaker over the Toronto Raptors. That will be very interesting as well. But we just got to keep on fighting, ladies and gentlemen, and I guess we'll wait and see what the outcomes will be. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Bit demoralizing, bit upsetting. I mean, I'm tired of it, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't like talking about negatives upon negatives upon negatives. It does feel like last season. It feels like 2 years ago with Jim Boylan all over again, in all honesty, how I really feel at this point. I know it's not been a negative season overall. Again, the month of February was unbelievable. I was so happy in that month. Month of December was fantastic. The start of the season was fantastic. It's been an overall positive stretch for the Chicago Bulls. Overall positive season, let's say. But this stretch of games has been so negative, been so poor, and it does make me feel like the Chicago Bulls of 2 years ago under Jim Boylan, where I feel like we don't know what we're doing, we don't know how to win. The coaching staff it needs to be held accountable as well, and some of these players are not working hard enough to win these games. It's just the way that it is. I've got a lot to say, and I'm not going to say all of it until after the season, in terms of what we need next season and stuff like that. All of that's come into my mind. All of that is really a big part of what I want to discuss, but I'm not going to do that out of respect for this team, the team that we have now. I'm not going to be talking about those types of things until the end of the season, so we can actually have a little bit of respect for the team that we have now. The team that we have now, we can roll with it. We can't change it now. So there's no point in discussing what we could do next season until next season occurs, or until the free agency period and stuff of that nature. So yeah, we'll wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care.